Lisa Rebar here. We have talked about the tensions between England, King George III, their leader, and the colonists. By the time we get to 1775, it's a powder keg. The opening shots of the Revolutionary War. On the night of April 18th through the early morning of April 19th, 1775, Paul Revere, William Dawes, Samuel Prescott set about heading out to Concord in Lexington to warn the other patriots that the British were coming. They didn't say the British were coming, they were British. They said the regulars are coming. The British soldiers had found out that the patriots had been amassing a store of munitions in Concord, hidden there, and they were going to go and confiscate it. There was also word that John Hancock and Samuel Adams, traitors, were in the Lexington Concord area and they were to be arrested. So Paul Revere, William Dawes, and Samuel Prescott set off to warn them. Paul Revere made it as far as Lexington, again saying the regulars are coming, the regulars are coming. You need to get out, you need to get out. Paul Revere was caught by some British soldiers, held for several hours, but he had done his job. William Dawes fell off his horse, kind of wandered, he ran off. Samuel Prescott made it on to Concord to warn them they were coming. In the early morning of April 19, 1775, Captain Jonas Parker and about 70 Minutemen gathered waiting for the British. Captain Parker was a little bit discouraged. Originally he had probably about twice that number, but as they waited and waited, men wandered off, didn't have time. So he only had about 70 Minutemen. They fought. No one knows how this battle started. There was a lot of controversy. Who fired the first shot? Did someone mishear that they were supposed to fire and they fired? No one knows exactly who fired the first shot, but it did happen on this morning. Captain Parker himself was killed by a British musket ball, and he lost 7 or 8 other men. The British marched on, feeling somewhat victorious, onto Concord. They were greeted there by about 450 patriots, so quite a few more than they had had to deal with in Lexington. In light of that number, and these 450 patriots were not trained soldiers. They were shopkeepers, farmers, men that were trying to help out the Minutemen defend against the British. The British decided to hightail it back to Boston. They were just feeling a little bit outnumbered. The road back to Boston was not a pleasant experience for the British. They were used to fighting in a tight lines formation, and that's the way that soldiers had always fought. That was the way to do it. These untrained patriots hid behind bridges, hid behind trees, and did some sniper-like shooting. The British complained that they weren't really following the rules, but it was war, and these colonists really didn't feel like they had to follow these rules. So on the road back to Boston, the British had about 283 casualties. The Patriots about not quite half that number. So who won? Who's to say?